everyone. Please bear with me. I'm a bit nervous. So, before I start, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for being here today. Your presence is deeply appreciated. I am so elated seeing so many of you here in support of Canada and in support of our fellow citizens. Especially on Canada Day, our holiday, you've taken the time to come out. It also takes a lot of bravery to be here today, considering our current climate. Please give yourselves a huge pat on the back. So we've all faced tough times recently. For some of us, it's been much longer. And I think it speaks volumes about our situation when even moderates feel compelled to organize. There is a widespread sense of hopelessness among Canadians, especially the youth. But today, we stand together to say we are not alone. So, to introduce myself, you can call me Ash. I'm part of Cost of Living Canada. And today, with both of our protests being held at the same location and time, we've merged with Take Back Canada to amplify our voices. So some in the crowd may be with our Cost of Living protest and others with Take Back Canada. Ultimately, both our groups are united in our goal to ensure a thriving future for Canada. There's a saying, a society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. It's time we do the work to secure our future and that of the next generation. If the state of the country continues to decline, it will harm our well-being entirely and for a long time to come. We want a Canada that retains all the good values we have for Canadian citizens and those who aspire to become one. I'd like to preface my explanation of our movement by saying that everyone is welcome. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from, your age or political affiliation. We only ask for respect. Respect for each other and for our country and its culture. If you are concerned about the cost of living crisis and its effects and want a better future, you are welcome wholeheartedly. There is no place for hate here. Our focus is the cost of living crisis, which is affecting most working class Canadians in some form or another. Reports from Food Banks Canada shows that 1 in 4 Canadians are living in poverty. That means 1 in 4 of our Canadian brothers and sisters are suffering. This is an unconscionable statistic for a G7 nation. We elected these people to make our lives better. We want politicians to know that they work for us. We are tired of our politicians not serving working class interests, but serving those with money and power. The same people who seek to destroy our livelihoods and culture, all in the name of profit. We demand a government that serves the people, not profit. We need a functional government, not a traitorous government.
Canada first.
Canada first. Justice system reform. Our justice system must protect citizens by effectively addressing repeat offenders and violent crimes. As it stands now, offenders are quickly released, leading to further crime. Ensuring safety and justice for all is non-negotiable.
100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Shel Zakaria, and I'm honored to stand before you as an immigrant who deeply cares about the future of Canada.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So I really want to express my gratitude to Ethan for organizing this movement today in Toronto and giving me the opportunity to voice my concern and support this cause. So on this Canada Day, as we gather to celebrate the beauty and promise of our nature, we find ourselves at crossroads. We are here to take a stand for the Canada we love, a country that has historically been a beacon of hope, freedom, and dignity for people from all walks of life. Canada has always been a place where hard work, sacrifice, and shared values promised a bright and prosperous future for all. Canada has long been known for its compassion, generosity, welcoming those who flee from repressive governments and cultures. We have extended our hands to those who share our core values of love, respect, and equality. However, the future that generations before us worked so hard to build is now under threat. Yeah. Gone are the days when our government reinvested the taxes we pay into our future, creating policies that made our country fairer and safer. Today, Canada has become a democracy in name only, where vote seems to decide which promises will be broken next. The oligopolies have free rein, benefiting from cheap foreign labours, while the average Canadian struggle to afford basic necessities. Our country is witnessing an influx of immigrants at a rate that our infrastructure cannot support. This has led to a situation where even the most basic human necessity, affordable housing, seems out of reach for many. Skyrocketing grocery prices, job scarcity, and strained healthcare and social services are the issues that affect us all. And we cannot ignore the role that irresponsible immigration policies play in aggravating these problems. I think it is crucial to emphasize that we are not against immigration. We welcome peace-loving immigrants who come here fairly, embrace Canadian values, and contribute positively to our society.
Come on!
Thank you. However, we oppose the reckless policies that depress wages, raise the cost of living, and compromise safety. So as an Indian immigrant myself, I have seen both sides of the coin. I actually migrated to this country a while ago, paying like 10 times more tuition fee. Right? Despite earning my degree, I'm still struggling to find a job. I have applied to over 300 companies, but I have not received a single reply from any of them. The increase in student immigration has resulted in more than 300 to 400 applicants for a single job opening. This is not fair. And it highlights how our current policies are failing us. I have observed that how some individuals do not fully integrate into the Canadian culture, Canadian society, leading to the formation of insular communities that can sometimes engage in disruptive behaviors.
Yeah.
So this not only harms us, our social fabric, but also perpetuates negative stereotypes that affects us all. It is essential that those who come to Canada are committed to embracing and respecting Canadian values and norms. Yeah. So moreover, the practice of granting asylum or citizenship to individuals involved in conflicts or unrest from their home countries needs careful scrutiny. While we must remain compassionate, it is equally important to ensure that our policies are fair and that immigrants are willing to integrate and contribute positively to our society. So I think we must show the ruling class that we are not passive bystanders but active participants in shaping our destiny. We must stand united as true Canadians, separated by ideological affiliations but united by our love for this country.
Come on!
Let us tell our children that when the time came, we stood boldly for what was right. So I ask you, will you keep the promise you made at the start of every school day, at every hockey game and every Remembrance Day and Canada Day? Will you stand on the guard for thee? Thank you, and let us move forward with courage and determination to reclaim the Canada we all love. So happy Canada Day to everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I have just been informed, actually, that another one of our organizers, Natasha, wants to say a few words. So I'm actually going to bring her on briefly to say what she wants to say, and then you guys will be forced to hear from me. So, Natasha.
Now, my last message to you, to speak to your friends, because I wasn't into politics till a few years ago, and then when I woke up and said, oh my goodness, what's happening in the world, that, as you all know. And I always said I'm not political. However, if any of you know about Martha Gellhorn, she used to be a novelist, author, and wrote about world wars. She has a famous quote, which I'm not saying it correctly here, but you can look it up, is that some people say they're not into politics and they're proud of it. However, if you have any interest in your standard of living, in your health, in your future, in your money, in any future, in the future of your children, we must be interested in politics. Otherwise, we're saying we don't care about it. Happy Canada Day.
All right, guys, now I'll just give you my prepared speech. It might have a few words in common with some of the speeches you've heard already today, but I'll say them anyway. My fellow Canadians, thank you for being here in Canada today, a day we would all prefer to be spending in celebration of our country, the wonderful place it is, and the wonderful things it stands for. However, today, the Canada we see is not the Canada we once knew. For so many years, Canada was a shining example of a free and good-natured country, a society with strong yet kind morals, and a nation where the hard work and sacrifices of generations before made it possible for generations after to prosper. Not only did we work hard for ourselves and for our children, but for decades we have generously allowed people from all around the world, regardless of where they came from, to come here and partake in the prosperity we created, as long as they came here honestly, with good intentions, and a true desire to become Canadian in every way that matters. We were free, prosperous, generous, and happy. But somehow, somewhere, we've lost our way. We are here today because Canada is broken. Our kindness and generosity has given way to naivety and weakness. We no longer think critically about the decisions we make, nor do we engage in thoughtful debate over the policies we adopt. So many Canadians find themselves working hard at a job that feels meaningless in service of an economy that has become meaningless. Because while stock prices, real estate portfolios, and corporate profits stay high, Canadians struggle to afford not only the life we were promised, but the means to survive. Where once we based our immigration policy on what was best for Canadians, our government now does what's best for corporations, real estate investors, slumlords, and the immigration fraud industry, made up of diploma mills, LMIA scams, and consultants helping people to abuse pathways for immigration in ways they were not intended. We used to welcome into our country those who wish to earn a place in our society, respect our laws and customs, embody our values, and become Canadian. The immigration we see today, much of it, is nothing like the immigration we had before. The difference we see has nothing to do with race, and everything to do with how careless and corrupt our ruling class is. The future we were all promised cannot exist if jobs remain scarce, wages remain low, and home ownership remains a pipe dream for young Canadians. And Canadian culture and identity cannot survive tidal wave after tidal wave of immigration without assimilation.
Yeah!
We find ourselves with a government that refuses to listen to the will of the people, the desire of the vast majority of Canadians to stop this insane, profit-driven mass immigration and send home the hundreds of thousands of temporary workers and fake students, keeping wages low, the cost of living high, and jobs scarce. Do you all remember, just a few short years ago, when we were all worried that automation was going to take away all the entry-level jobs, and maybe even some of the mid-level jobs? And how many of us would be left without anything to do? But now they tell us there's a labor shortage, and so we need more workers. How many insane lineups have we seen at job fairs? How many jobs have you applied for before getting a single interview? Do you remember when they told us that we need to reduce our population because a person living in a first world country has a carbon footprint several times greater than a person living in a third world country? And perhaps they're right. But now, the supposed environmentalists in power say that through immigration, we should aspire to be a country of 100 million people by the year 2100.
Come on.
Perhaps they mean to reduce our carbon footprint by making us an impoverished third world country. Why do Canadians in need of life-saving medical treatment have to die waiting in order to accommodate treatment for non-Canadians? Why are we expected to throw away the prosperity and opportunity we once enjoyed and to make room in our housing market and our job market for millions of people for whom we owe nothing, just so that the rich can get richer while we become overcrowded and poor? Canadians want to be generous. We want to be welcoming. But we do not want this, and we did not consent to this. We do not want to be taken advantage of, tricked, lied to, and sold out by those we trusted to lead us. They give away what Canadians before us worked, fought, and died for. Yet the Indigenous peoples of Canada continue to live in squalor. Instead of trying to right the wrongs of the past, instead of working towards better living standards for the Indigenous, or trying to afford them some kind of dignified sovereignty and self-determination, we've decided to punish ourselves, to pay the pain forward with destructive mass immigration policies, akin almost, in some places, to colonization. So that, like the Indigenous peoples before us, we too can live to see the society we hold dear, everything that was once ours, taken from us, destroyed, and erased. Is this the fate that must befall a society that dares to reflect on the sins of its past? Dares to explore ways in which it might one day make up for those sins? Dares to be generous and welcoming to others? Our history, like the history of all societies, bears the marks of bloodshed and injustice. But because we, unlike many other societies, have taken up the selfless aspiration to make up for those injustices of our ancestors, we must reject ourselves. Reject our Canadian identity and the beauty we once saw in it. And repent until we have nothing left to repent with. The ruling class rationalizes its actions to us in many ways, from the economic and pragmatic to the nebulous and philosophical. Their reasons are a distraction from what truly motivates them: money and power, which they obtain through corruption. It didn't have to be this way. And I say to you, it doesn't have to continue this way. There is a way forward. Canadians are waking up, and we are finding out that when you get right down to it, we're not as divided as they want us to think we are. Anglophone Canadians, Francophone Canadians, Indigenous people, and immigrant Canadians from across the ideological spectrum can all see that something's not right. What's happening right now is not working, and there is absolutely no reason that we should be made to endure it. All of us here today, united together as true Canadians, despite our differences, in defense of our future and our identity, are proof of this. Some of you may wonder what I mean by true Canadian. What is Canadian identity? I believe we all share a common intuitive understanding of what it means to be Canadian. Although it can be hard to put into words, I will try my best. I believe that to be Canadian means to embody several characteristics which truly set us apart from every other society in the world. I believe that being Canadian means to be gentle but strong. It means mowing your neighbor's lawn when you mow yours. It means standing up for what is right, not settling for what is convenient. It means respecting and admiring the natural world and protecting its majesty and serenity from the reckless arrogance of man. It means smiling at a stranger as though they are your friend. It means carrying your garbage in your pocket because you couldn't find a trash can nearby.
Awesomeness.
It means that as a woman, you are free to dress, to speak, and to live as you wish, and to feel safe while doing so. And that as a man, you are obligated to respect these freedoms, whether or not you agree with how they are expressed. And to protect the safety of women and children in your community. And it means that as people, we are free to love who we want and how we want. Being Canadian means we can agree to disagree and to settle our differences with words and not with violence. It means to embrace our freedoms and to respect the freedoms of others. But above all else, it means we are duty-bound as sons and daughters of Canada, as inheritors of this fair nation which we have been entrusted with which generations of Canadians before us have fought, bled, and died for to make good on the oath we made every morning at school, at every hockey game, on every Canada Day and Remembrance Day, to stand on guard for thee. I call on you all now to recognize the peril that lies ahead. I plead with you all to understand the gravity of the historical moment we find ourselves in. The world we've gotten used to over the past several decades is coming to an end. As we look around the world and within our own borders, we see that the great wheels of history are turning once more. And it is becoming harder for the distractions we are fed to hide this from us. The very survival of our country, our culture, and our society is at stake. And it is not hyperbole to say that we find ourselves in the most consequential moment in our nation's history since its very inception, whether or not it feels like it now. I call on you all now to consider those who fought and died for this country and what they would expect of us now. History is watching us. Our children, their children, and generations after are watching us. What will they think of us? Are we going to let them all down by standing idle while our future and theirs crumbles before us? Or will we take the steps necessary to fight for them and dare to believe that the fight can be won? Maybe not today, and maybe not tomorrow, but all change starts somewhere. And the more we realize how united we can be, and the more we accept the duty and responsibility we have as individual Canadians to stand up and defend what is ours, the closer we will be to taking back Canada from the corrupt powers that possess it. There is no longer time to waste. We must start taking action now. And for as long as there is still breath in our lungs and a Canada left to fight for, on and on until our country is won, or we have died trying to defend it. I am proud of my heritage. I am proud of my nationality. I am proud to share my nationality with those born elsewhere who wish wholeheartedly to adopt it. I am proud to call all true Canadians my brothers and sisters. May we never give in until our task is finished and our children's futures secured. Long live Canada! Thank you everyone for coming and listening to that. We're going to be going on a march now soon. First we'll play O Canada and we'll all sing it. And then we'll march north to Bloor Street, over to Bay Street, and south to Queen, and then back up here. And we were going to end on the south side of the legislature, but I think it's probably easier to just end back here where all the equipment is. So please feel free to grab a sign, and we'll get O Canada playing soon. Thank you very much for being here, for standing for Canada. Let's take it back.
Come get your duds in order, 'cause we're bound to cross the water. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. Come get your duds in order, 'cause we're bound to leave tomorrow. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Sometimes we're bound for Liverpool, sometimes we're bound for Spain. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's, where all the girls are dancing. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. I wrote me love a letter, I was on the Jenny Lynn. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. I wrote me love a letter and I signed it with a ring. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Sometimes we're bound for Liverpool, sometimes we're bound for Spain. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's, where all the girls are dancing. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Say, darling, 'cause now I'm gonna leave ya. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. You promised that you'd marry me, but how you did deceive me. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Sometimes we're bound for Liverpool, more times we're bound for Spain. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's, where all the girls are dancing. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Sometimes we're bound for Liverpool, sometimes we're bound for Spain. Heave away, me jollies, heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's, where all the girls are dancing. Heave away, me jolly boys, we're all bound away.